Hi everyone. Today I just wanted to talk about brain fog, something that stops us doing anything pretty much when we're drinking too much. I just remember my brain fog before I stopped drinking alcohol, and I think the main problem for me and the main issue was that I just never got anything done. The amount of times I started things, not only like round the house, you might have a good day, or you may have, maybe stayed in one weekend and you start painting the bathroom, start putting up a desk or a wardrobe that you bought from IKEA, and it takes a bit of effort to put together. You know, I started a master's degree, never finished. I wanted to get chartered in what I was doing at the time, didn't finish that. And not only was the financial cost of paying for stuff and not doing it, and the emotional toll of never getting anything done, it's just absolutely awful on you, and that just can't be good. Week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, starting these things and looking a year later, whatever it is, or months later, and it's still not done, and it makes you feel just like a loser. And I think brain fog is just one of these topics that I don't really see covered that much. And in Scotland, we call it, can't be arse-itis, like a play on a disease, can't be bothered-itis. And it's true, because you just don't have that zest to get anything done, and it's just like a version of what you should be has been dumbed down. And like I say, it can't be good for your brain to constantly have these goals and just never ever get them done. And you know I'm not a doctor at all, and I'm just here to give my experience, my lessons learnt. But I'm not too sure on the background of why it happens. I can imagine back in the good old days, the kings and the rulers loving that the people were getting drunk, because I just think it just dulls everything and all the life that's in you. You know, a fresh mind with a zest for life and waking up full of beans was maybe not good for people, for the rulers back then, because they would be challenged. And with brain fog, it's just a topic that, like I say, it was a big issue in my life, and it was really one of the causes of the anxiety, because, like I say, you feel like a bit like a loser, just having all these goals, and you look back for years and years, and we've all been there. I think, I remember an example of a friend of mine that was kind of like a friend of a friend I would catch up with now and again. And I think I met him. I knew he was a big drinker, but he'd always wanted to be a pilot. And I would see him maybe every couple of years, just at weddings, etc. And every time I met him, he said how much he hated his job, and he worked in the public sector, and that he wished he could become a pilot. And I think every time I met him, he was more and more annoyed. And I remember after about 10 years, I thought to myself, if he'd actually done that when I'd spoke to him the first time he'd mentioned it, he would have been finished now, and he would have had all his, he'd have flown many times round the world. He'd probably had multiple jobs as a pilot and loving life, but he didn't. And I think it was just down to the brain fog. For It took me a good 2 3 weeks for the brain fog to clear. I mean, it's going to be different for everyone, but I think it is one of those things that comes quite quickly. And just the absolute benefit of having that clear mind. I mean, I think it was about 2 weeks in when I first time I went alcohol free, and all of a sudden I'm thinking about 5 year plans. I'd always kind of wanted to move abroad again, but just like everything with brain fog, it just became a pipe dream. I wanted to get my master's degree. I wanted to become chartered, etc. But again, it's just stuff that fell beside the wayside because I couldn't be bothered doing anything on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and then before you know it, it's the weekend again. And hey, that's it. And if I had a week off work, I would, just end up getting hammered half the time and maybe go on holiday, all inclusive, and then that falls by the wayside. But the mental clarity coming back, like I say, you won't be thinking about the short term only. It's about the long term as well. And then you start getting the stuff done, the DIY around the house. You start dealing with all those letters you got in the post from the bank and the tax man that you kind of half ignored. If you want to, you start thinking about that business that you always wanted to set up, the dream holiday, like I say, your pension, your mortgage. How can I pay it off quicker? How can I, I'll actually maybe phone up different mortgage companies, different car finance companies, and I'll start getting better deals. I'll phone up the phone provider and start maybe asking them if I can get a cheaper deal. If not, I'll go somewhere else. Just things that absolutely wouldn't have happened before. And it goes into every aspect of life. When you're at the gym, you're just fully focused. You'll start putting together a plan. You won't just kind of be turning up half bothered and pretend that you had this great session. You'll actually go there with a mission, with a goal, and absolutely pump it. And that brain fog is just a big, massive hindrance on life. And like I say, I'm not a psychologist, don't claim to be, but it can't be healthy for your brain when you've got brain fog there and you've got ambitions, because everyone has ambitions, but you've never done anything about it. And you look back and you think, I've not done this. But, it's never too late. There's a great saying that, the best time to do this, whatever it is, set up your business, renovate your house, set up a YouTube channel, pass some exams, change career. The best time was X amount of years ago, but the second best time's now. And I think that's amazing. And just, think to yourself, if I write down my 5 goals, my 3 big goals, maybe mix some short term or long term, now that the brain fog's gone, what do I want to achieve? And I bet you look back in a couple of years, a year, 6 months, whatever, and you've ticked all those boxes, and it's an absolute life changer. So that's just a short one on brain fog, kind of what it is, and just how your life will change once it goes, and it goes really quick. It's really is remarkable, and the fog will never return, and all these wins, quick wins, long term wins, just all add up and just boost your self confidence and change your life. So I'm releasing daily videos at the moment, daily shorts as well, and I post. So please like and subscribe if you like this video, and yeah, take care. Bye.